Hey, what's going on, everybody? Manny back at it again, man. Welcome to DFS Zone. Thank you guys for tuning in. Going to be going over today's 7-game slate in the association, but before I get started, appreciate you guys drop a like, comment down below, let me know what you think of today's slate, what games you like, what team stack, game stack. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Greatly appreciate that. And of course, don't forget to put on notification bells. This way you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. First things first, today is the last video of the week for me. I've stated over the last weekend as well. On Saturdays, I pretty much get myself prepared for Sunday's NFL DFS. So tomorrow I'll be obviously doing some things around the house, and at the most importantly, later in the day, sit down and evaluate the NFL, make my picks, make my selections, do all my research, and so on and so forth. So Saturday and Sunday off. As soon as the NFL finishes, I will, chances are when this regular season finish of the NFL and they get into the playoffs, I'll have more time, and definitely I can be able to do my research on Sunday mornings or on Saturday mornings before the games and still be able to do NBA. So then maybe by then I'll do more NBA content. But again, tomorrow, no video, and no video on Sunday. I'll be back on Monday. So if you are playing NBA and NFL over the weekend, good luck. Hopefully you guys make a ton of money. All right. So that's pretty much the news. So let's get right to it, man. The last few days I've been doing a little bit of a different format. Some people like it. We're going to keep going that route. Going to give you one player per position that I like at this moment. Remember, guys, this is early on. It's earlier in the day. It's probably around 12 o'clock. I mean, I work in the morning and then I come back home. I'm only home for 2 or 3 hours and I take the time to really do evaluation. So I look at things a little bit closely now, and then I come back and I look at things a little bit more at the end of the day at 5:30. I sit down and I look at everything again onto lock. So most important thing, if you guys play this long enough, you got to stay on top of the news. A lot of news today, especially the Jokic situation. We got Brogdon out. So there is some value. There are some plays. It's not the greatest slate, but there is going to be some games that you can definitely target. At the end of the segment of each round of position players, I will come back and address some other point guards, shooting guards, etc., that I think you guys can definitely look at. I mentioned some pivots last night, prior to the start. I didn't do too bad. I didn't do as good as I wanted to because as much as I wanted to game stack a few games, I didn't game stack enough and not with the right combinations. Like if you had chosen Washington last night in Atlanta, which was one of the game stacks I recommended if you watch yesterday's video, that game ended up being actually a big 11 or 12-point win for Washington, but there was enough points made between the two teams and the key players that I discussed that, I mean, when I calculated last night before going to bed, it was like a 272 fantasy point total, billed about 6 players within that. So if you would have game stacked the Washington-Atlanta game last night, you would have had at least a nice, close to 300 fantasy points before finalizing your last 3 players. And that's what can make or break a slate, man. You can have a great game stack on a 6-gamer today, same thing at a 7-gamer, and anything can happen if you have the right pieces in place. You never know. You may have a little lady. You got to have a little lady luck on your side as well. But overall wise, not bad. I'm a GPP player, so I'm looking to try to win a big one every single night, and that's the beauty of it. We got a chance to do it again. So, all right, let's get right to it. So, and then at the end of that, of course, I will also give you today's game stack or two. I do have my eye on 1 or 2 games, and I'll discuss that at the very end of the video. All right, let's get to point guard position. So at point guard today, right at the top, obviously Doncic. I was on him yesterday. He had a bum day. He's a guy that could come back, but he's on the front end of a back-to-back, but he has so much upside. You could definitely play him. We'll talk about him a little bit more later. He's not somebody I'm focusing on right now. De'Aaron Fox, if you've been with me long enough, I love De'Aaron Fox. I haven't played him yet this year. I haven't spoken about him this year, but he's in a pretty good matchup here today at 8,000. If I'm looking at all these guys here, I'm okay with Van Fleet, but I like Fox better than Ball in this matchup for certain. I think Van Fleet is in a good spot, too, against Orlando. Orlando could be a little pesty with the defense. But De'Aaron Fox going up against New Orleans is a great matchup. And I actually like this game. And I actually like both players, both guards in both sides of the court of this game. But De'Aaron Fox in play at 8,000. You need 40 from him. He hasn't really been hitting huge numbers as of yet this year. Has only hit 40 once, and that was in the first game of the season. But he has a lot of upside, a lot of potential, can get you some rebounds. He can definitely pass the ball and score. We know that, and he definitely is a pretty decent defender. So, I mean, when you look at that, his biggest problem is the turnovers, as you can see. You know, you hit a lot of turnovers here, and he could hurt you with those fantasy point totals. So, but if he can keep it clean and avoid that, he'll be all right. Overall, he's been shooting 37% from the floor thus far this year, which is not great, but has been shooting a little bit better as of late. He takes plenty of shots. You know, there's no doubt about it. He's taking 18 and 19 shots a game, about 5 to 6 threes per game. He just needs the shots to go down. If he can get those shots down, he'll be just fantastic. His numbers will be very, very good almost every night. Definitely at 8,000, that's a pretty decent price for him. This guy could easily be 86, 8,800 on a regular basis. He should be able to get 40 plus almost every single night. He hasn't really done it as of yet, but today's in a great matchup against New Orleans. Other than taking a lot of huge shots, he definitely has a high usage rate. He's at about 30.5, almost 31% usage rate at the moment. So he does get his opportunities with handling the ball. He's going up against New Orleans. They're allowing 49 fantasy points per game to opposing point guards and giving up nearly 23 points per game from the floor. Now, granted, he's only averaging 18 and 4 right now, pretty much on the season, but again, great opportunity for him. All right. This team also is giving up the 7th most points per game at that spot of 22.7 points per game to opposing point guards. They did give up to Lonzo 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists. D'Angelo Russell put up 12, 3, and 1. And Trae Young put up a big 31 spot on them with 5 rebounds and 7 assists. So an option there. You could go D Fox. I'm pretty good. I feel really good about D Fox there. Like I said, I'll discuss some more point guard options when we finish going through all the positions. We're going to go to shooting guard. At shooting guard at the top, we have Doncic, which you could play him. He's power point guard and shooting guard eligible. You got Paul George, same thing, shooting guard, small forward eligible. I'm okay with those guys. Doncic should have a bounce back game. I'm going to come down all the way to save some money. And like I said, I like the Sacramento-New Orleans game. I'm going with Devontae Graham. So Devontae at 6,100. Now, I'm still a little torn here. I like Devontae, and the only reason why I'm going with Devontae more than Halliburton, because I like Halliburton in this matchup as well, and I'll be giving you the numbers on these guys as well. But he's put 34 to 39, 34 plus in 2 straight games, 18 points per game, almost 4 rebounds, 5 assists, does a little bit of everything, can definitely give you some defense and get you a couple of steals. Versus Sacramento, so far this year, he's shooting 44% from the floor, 39% from 3. That's what I like. He is a pretty decent 3-point shooter. Will take enough threes, but he's got to get them down. He's averaging 8 to 9 threes that he's taking a game, and he's not burying them at a high clip. He's at 30. Well, actually, to be honest with you, he is at 39% for 3-point shooting. If he can get those up to about 40, 42%, he's going to be excellent. 44% from the floor. He's going up against Sacramento. He played them one other time. No, sorry about that. Sacramento right now is allowing 54.4 fantasy points per game to opposing shooting guards and 32 points per game from the floor. That is insane. Okay, so great matchup. Halliburton, the same thing. If you wanted to go Halliburton, the only difference I went with him over Halliburton is because Sacramento has given up more fantasy points and more points to the floor to opposing point guards and shooting guards. And even though Devontae Graham is labeled more of a point guard, I have no problem with putting him as a shooting guard in this lineup today. That's the option I have with Fanduel. So I definitely think that that's a route we can go. But Halliburton as well, man. I mean, 6K, you need 30. He's got 50-point upside. He's got better upside to me, in my opinion, Halliburton, than Graham from what I saw last year. But Graham, if he can get hot, if this game could stay close, competitive, which I think it will be, and that Vegas has it as well. I mean, the implied totals in this game is what? I think it's 221. Implied totals 221 with Sacramento favored by 2. So it should be fairly close. We'll see how it pans out. Halliburton, great defender as well, man. He has 4 blocks and 6 steals thus far this year after 4 games, shooting 46% from the floor, only shooting 23% from 3, not shooting as many shots and not taking as many shots, and not a higher usage rate than Graham is right now. And that's why I am targeting Graham, and I'm also targeting Graham simply because he's also at home. So But I have no problem at all whatsoever if you wanted to pivot and go Halliburton. I think Halliburton is in play. I'm going to discuss a few other guys here in that price range in a moment. We go to small forward. At small forward at the top, I'm going to go right to it. I'm going to go to OGO and Anunoby today. OG has been playing well. He seems to be the second leading scorer on the team for the Toronto. He's actually the second option as well, besides Van Fleet. 34 plus minutes over the last 2 games, 31 plus in pretty much the entire season. So he's playing 30 plus minutes. He has already 3 straight games at 22 points from the floor or better. Obviously, he can get you some rebounds, get you some assists, and he definitely is a good defender. He had 5 steals and 1 block against Indy in the last game, put up a 50 spot. He has been at 37 plus in 3 straight games at 7,200. You need about 36, and he's averaging 19, 6, and 3. With 36 fantasy points, he's already trending upward. So, I mean, he's doing very well. He's shooting 38% from the floor, 37% from 3. At home, he's shooting even better. That's one of the other reasons why I look at the home as well. So far in 2 games at home this year, 4 games at home this year, 41% from the floor and 41% from 3. So, home sweet home for OG Anunoby. I do like his matchup here. And like I said, he's the second main player offensively on this team. He's taking 17 to 18 shots a game, folks. So, I mean, he is definitely getting his shots down. And he's putting up also within those 17 shots, he's taking 8 to 9 on average threes. And he's burying those, as I already told you, at 41% clip at home. Usage rate is at 24%, is the highest it's been for him. And this is all due to the fact that there's no more Kyle Lowry. So now he gets to be the second dog on the team. Going up against Orlando, Orlando's allowing the 3rd most fantasy points per game to opposing small forwards at 49.2 fantasy points per game. And they're also the 3rd most points per game on the floor to opposing small forwards at 26.4. All right, they gave up 36, 3, and 2 to Jimmy Butler and 31 and 6 to Miles Bridges over the last 2 games. And now they got to go with OG Anunoby, who is the second option for the Toronto Raptors and the top dog up front. So I think it's a great matchup. 7,200. I've gone to him in the past when his price has been lower, and he's come through for me. And there's been times that he's been burying me. This is the first time I'm targeting him this year. I think he's an excellent option, someone you can keep in mind in today's matchups. At power forward, we have at the top, we have Durant, but I'm going to come down again to Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis going up against Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a little vulnerable up front. He didn't have a great game his last game out against Toronto. 33 minutes, 9, 8, 3, 1, and 2 steals. But he's going to get you minutes. He's going to get you rebounds. He's going to get you some assists. He's going to get you some blocks and steals. And most importantly, he is without Malcolm Brogdon, who is, the 1-2 punch between these 2 guys. So they're going to need him to have more minutes, more usage, more shots, so he's going to get opportunities as well as others, which I'll talk about. But Domantas Sabonis up front against Brooklyn, I like the matchup. He's shooting 63% from the floor, 40% from 3 thus far this year. And like I say, he's going to take up massive shots. His last game versus Brooklyn, he put up 58.7 fantasy points per game, and that's with Malcolm on the court. He's going up against Brooklyn. The Brooklyn is 11th in allowing fantasy points per game to power forwards at 48.4 fantasy points per game, and allowing the 7th most points per game from the floor to power forwards at 24.4 points per game, and he's averaging 21.2. Now, again, the games have to be played, folks. We never know what's going to happen. This is all probability, looking at numbers, looking at who's defending him, looking at where there's some strength in the team versus weakness, if it's up front or if it's in the backcourt. You got to look at all those variables, and then, of course, you got to look at some other numbers. I know it's very early, but I always look back at what they've done against the opposition. He did a good game the last time against them. He's coming off a poor game. He hasn't hit a 50 spot yet this year. He's more than capable. Is he capable of getting a 50, 60? Absolutely. So why not? Domantas Sabonis in on me for power forward today. At center is going to be J-Val. Jonas Valanciunas at 8,200, needing 41 from him to meet value. It's a good spot for him. This is an excellent spot. He's going to face a guy that's a lot smaller than he is. This guy brings physicality, can rebound, can give you assists, can defend, get you some blocks and steal. He's playing 35-plus minutes in 3 straight games. He has 3 straight double-doubles with 4 blocks and 4 steals over the course of that game. He doesn't even turn over the ball that much, and he's been perfect from the free throw line. He's been 24 of 24 so far this year. So again, 3 straight double-doubles, can't go wrong, brings all the physicality to the game. He's shooting 42% from the floor and perfect from the free throw line. He doesn't take any threes. Once in a while he does. Taking 13 to 14 shots per game, and on the usage rate right now, this guy's, like I told you the last time I talked about Valanciunas just a couple of days ago. This guy, if you've been with me since 2019, I've always said it. When he was with Toronto, he would get a little injured and it would just baby this guy. This guy has the potential to be a monster. And New Orleans realizes he's healthy and we're going to use this guy. He's got talent. And he is taking advantage of the opportunity. He's playing 30-plus minutes. This is the first time in his career he's playing on average more than 30 minutes a game. And look at the numbers he's putting up. I mean, massive rebounding. So look at the reboundings. If you're into price picks, he's one that you can definitely look at and see what his rebounding over-under is for today. Might be an excellent play. But Jonas Valanciunas in play for me. I definitely love it. The last 3 games against Sacramento, he put up 45, 42, and 48 fantasy points per game. And that was, that's pretty much 5X. I see him here. He could definitely get 5X here. He should be able to get maybe even 45, 50 in this matchup, and maybe even more. He may crush it. Sacramento's coming in here allowing the second most fantasy points per game to opposing centers at 64.8 fantasy points per game, and the second most points per game from the floor to opposing centers at 25.3 points per game. He's averaging 17 and 15. I'm looking at more around that range for him. 15 rebounds, about 17 points. But, man, if he can get a couple blocks and steals, he'll boost this thing up to over 50 fantasy points easily. Sacramento, last few games, gave up 17, 20, and 2 to Rudy Gobert, 20 points, 14 rebounds, and 2 assists to Nurkic, and 21 points, 21 rebounds, and 1 assist to Ayton of Phoenix, which I pretty much gave you guys as an option a couple of nights ago, and he ended up panning out well. He actually did well for me, too. I put him in a number of my late night and main and he came through. So Ayton is the one. So, Ayton put up some huge numbers. So if those guys were able to do it, I don't see no reason why Jonas Valanciunas would not be able to do the same here today. So I like him. I like him a lot. Like I said, he's definitely an option for rebounding in today's price picks. And those are my 5 picks there. So you got Fox, Graham, Anunoby, Sabonis, and Valanciunas. Now, options at point guard. Let's go back. Your options at point guard today, if I can find my sheet. So we got Doncic at the top. I have no problem with Doncic. I don't know if I want to pay up for him. He had a bad game last night. Kind of burned me last night. I had him on pretty much on all my lineups for the main. He didn't come through. Had a bad night. It is what it is. It's going to happen, man. You got to have short-term memory. You got to move on. I'm sure he's doing the same thing. He is capable of coming back and smashing and putting up 60 today. So that's the beauty about Doncic. If you're on him and you think this is a great play, especially if there's no Joker. If Joker is not playing, then it's definitely an opportunity for him, a chance to light it up with rebounding as well as scoring. He's gonna be able to put up some nice numbers tonight if Jokic is not able to play. Harden been struggling. He's under 10. I like the under 10 price. Definitely for GPP. He's definitely an option. You never know when he may just pop off. It could be tonight. Russell Westbrook's definitely someone you can consider at 9,400. Had a great game. Has had 2 massive games in a row. If LeBron is out again, and there it goes again. Him and AD are the key guys that you can consider for the Lakers, and he's going to be definitely someone you can consider. I'm not high on Damian Lillard here tonight against the Clippers, but I do like that game as a possible game stack, which I'll talk about in a few moments. Van Fleet, I think, is someone you can consider. No doubt about it. As you know, Fox is the one that I like the most. You have some options. Devontae Graham, he is point guard and shooting guard eligible. As you know, I selected him as a shooting guard today. Tyrese Halliburton is definitely in play for me. I expect to have some exposure to Fox, Graham, and Halliburton today. I definitely love that game between Sacramento and New Orleans, and it's definitely my favorite game stack, which I will discuss in a few moments as well. I'm not on Kyle Lowry. I normally am not on Kyle Lowry. I don't see him being a factor. If he is out, obviously that's definitely a nice little boost there for Charlotte with LaMelo Ball. So Ball, that couldn't open up the doors for him to being used. TJ McConnell is definitely in play today. He is a strong option. He may be one of the higher owned players today because Malcolm Brogdon is out and McConnell is going to come in. And usually when he comes in and he gets minutes and get opportunity, he makes the most of them. So McConnell could, smash here and get you a 35-40 spot at 5,700. So he's definitely someone that's very much viable here today. I do like McConnell there due to the fact that Brogdon is out. You come down here, Bledsoe could be a sneaky play in this game against Portland at 5,400. Always like Jalen Brunson. I've mentioned him before. I think Jalen Brunson is in play. And, you always got to watch out with Patty Mills. But I'm not in favor of anybody down here. I think those are the ones that I like the most. A shooting guard. If we go to shooting guard, obviously I already mentioned Doncic. You can play him at point guard, shooting guard. Same thing with George. You could play him as shooting guard or small forward eligible. I think he's definitely in play at 10,100. You need 50 though, big number, but he's capable of doing it. Jimmy B has been playing well. I tell you again, Westbrook is someone you can consider at point guard, shooting guard if you want to tonight, especially if LeBron is out. Okay, Van Fleet in play. Karis LeVert, this is interesting here. If LeVert does not play, right now, I don't advise anybody to play LeVert even if he does play, because he's coming from a back injury. And we would like to see him. Me personally, and if you watch my videos the last few days, every time I mention injuries, that's just the way I am. That's just me. I've been doing this for 5 years already, playing DFS, NBA, and all that. And trust me, I've been through those. I've been there, done it, taking guys right after injury. And about 85, 90% of the time, they definitely play less minutes. They don't play enough. They don't perform. And so I would say you definitely should fade him even if he plays. But if he doesn't play, obviously McConnell, all these guys, Jeremy Lamb is a big boost for him to get some more minutes. Duarte is going to probably take even more shots. So that I will like. We'll see what happens there. So you got to follow the news and see what goes on there at the end of the day. Other than that, I don't know. Tyler Hero, some of these guys are pretty high in price. Hayward, Garland, they're really not popping off as of late. But again, I like this little area here. I do like a lot. Alexander Walker, definitely in play for me. I do like him as well. So he's in play. Halliburton is definitely like my second choice here at shooting guard. So more than likely, I may even throw him in there with Graham. Halliburton, I definitely think he's in play. Buddy Hield could be a sneaky play if you want to change it up. Definitely there. Willie Barton. This is going to be pretty interesting. If Jokic is out, I'm going to love a lot of Willie Barton because he's going to take more shots. And Willie Barton has been back to Willie Barton. He's being aggressive. He's taking the ball to the hole. He's scoring. 5,800. He's definitely someone in play. And, of course, you can do T.J. McConnell here at shooting guard. So you got a lot of options. I think these guys are all in play for me. Halliburton, Walker, Graham, Barton. Definitely the injury news will be the what's going to make me decide what I'm going to do with Barton. But if Jokic is out, I definitely could see myself throwing Barton in some of my small forward lineups. And McConnell, definitely the same thing here as well. Maybe not too much because I know he's going to probably be a little bit more of a high-owned player tonight. Jalen Brunson, like I said, I definitely like. Oubre could be someone to consider here, as well. He's playing a decent amount of minutes. Bruce Brown if Brooklyn, I wouldn't even go down there, but you could. I don't see no reason why not. 4,700, capable of getting you at least value. And that is pretty much it for me, at least at the moment. Malik Monk, no LeBron. Malik Monk could be an option. And Reggie Bullock played a little bit in the Dallas game, so maybe he might be an option. But I like Jeremy Lamb. Okay, Jeremy Lamb, shooting guard, small forward eligible. If LeVert is out, Lamb may be getting more minutes. He's been averaging about 15 minutes, putting up a point per minute. Let's take a quick look. Pretty much a point per minute, close to a point per minute. But if he gets over 20 minutes, you never know. So he could be a little sneaky play down there if you want really a cheap play. At small forward at the top, I do like George. I think Durant is okay. If you wanted to pay up on somebody, I'm not really high on paying up on the big dogs today. So this is more of a slate for me, a little bit more balanced and maybe staying in the 5 to 6K range with some players because there's a lot of options there, especially even over here at small forward. Jimmy Butler, Ingram, I like him here at 8,200. You need 41, 42. This is about his range as far as what he scores on a regular basis, but he does have 50-point plus upside. He hasn't done it thus far this year. This may be the night. You never know. I do like him in a game stack against Sacramento. Miles Bridges has been tearing it up. He's at 8,000. You need 40. Could go there. Tough matchup against Miami. They're always tough with everybody. Michael Porter could be an option here as well for Denver. He may have to do some more rebounding and scoring and get a little bit more usage if Jokic is out. I still like Willie Barton the most, but Porter would be someone you can consider here. And Scotty Barnes, like Scotty Barnes here, still at 6,000. You need 30. He could get you about 35, maybe even 40. Alexander Walker's in play, which I already discussed. I already told you about Barton and Duarte. 5,600 for Duarte. If LeVert is out as well, he's going to continue to start. and with no Brogdon, so it's going to open up the doors for TJ McConnell and Duarte in the backcourt to really put up some numbers and have Sabonis take care of everything up front. So interesting night for Indianapolis, but Chris Duarte is definitely in play. And Nassar Little gets sufficient minutes here and there. Nicholas Batum, I definitely like here. Could be a nice play at 4,600. So Batum could be someone you can consider as well. I prefer him in the power forward spot, but he's small forward, power forward eligible. Joe Harris, I just don't love it. And I think that's it. Other than, Jeremy Lamb is there. Man, I just don't love anything really down here. I don't see anything cheap. Let's go to power forward. And at power forward at the top, Sabonis I like, as you know. I'm not on Bam, and then you got this game time decision on the knee. So if he happens to not play, but the chances are, I think it said it was now he's downgraded to questionable. So definitely watch the news there. That may open up some value for Miami, okay? And Rashad Holmes, you could definitely go there. I prefer, to save a few bucks there, but I don't have no problem with him in a game stack. If you're not putting in J Val, you can switch it up. Well, I'll talk about that in a moment. Jared Allen, power forward, small forward eligible. I like Jared Allen in this matchup against the Lakers. Discuss it more when we go over the centers. KP, if he plays, I won't be on him because he's coming from a back injury, so you know the deal there. But he is definitely someone you can consider. Evan Mobley, like him here, power forward at 6,600. Prefer the number to be more at 6, but he is priced about right, and I like the matchup. I think him and Allen are going to definitely dominate with the Lakers. I mean, they should, we'll see. Scotty Barnes, the games have to be played. You never know. Scotty Barnes in play. Miles Turner could be a very sneaky play here against Brooklyn, 5,700 if he doesn't get into foul trouble. He is pretty cheap for a starting center. He ain't playing massive minutes. I don't believe so. No, he's not. So it's always a problem. I always like to see minutes. Precious Achiuwa is in play at 5,100. Not too high on Aaron Gordon, even though if the Joker is out, obviously it's an opportunity for him to get more rebounds. I love Nicholas Batum here at 4,600, which I already mentioned. Batum is in a great spot for me. I think that he's in an excellent spot there at 4,600, so he's in play for me. Maxi Kleber, I mentioned him yesterday as an option. I put him in one lineup. I should have put him in more lineups, and I just didn't have him in the right lineup that did me the best so that he can get me even more further up. He had a massive game. What is his chances of doing it again? Very slim, but if there's no KP, he will get some minutes, and you never know what may happen. So he's definitely in play for 3,900. He's an option. JaMychal Green is the one that's going to be a key guy here today. Could be another highly owned player if the Joker is out. If Joker is out, then JaMychal Green more than likely is going to get a bump in minutes, more than likely will start. And if he only, he's a pretty decent point per minute player when he plays. So, 14 minutes, 18, 10 minutes, not bad there, 18 and 13. He can definitely get something done. It's going to be a tough battle there, but I think that'll make this game even more competitive if there's no Joker. So JaMychal Green might get a lot of opportunities to get some fantasy points. We go to center at the top. So at center, you got these options here. These guys with the game time decisions, Jokic, Davis, I don't know. I'm not going to be high on any one of these guys. I don't take chances with guys, especially when they play the late games, the late game hammers. You got to know this news way early on. If you don't get it, don't even bother. You just don't even take a chance unless you're playing the after hours. Then that news may be available to you just before tip. But Sabonis and Valanciunas, definitely like these two guys up front. As you know, I took J Val. I think Rashad Holmes can be an option. Nurkic is definitely an option. I do like Allen and Mobley the most here. I just like the matchup against LA. These guys are going to definitely should dominate. LA is giving up the 7th most fantasy points per game to opposing centers at 56.6 fantasy points per game and nearly 13 rebounds a game. These guys should be able to do well here, either Allen or Mobley or both. You can even pair them up if you're playing the late night hammer. I have no problem with it. I think that's something that I will be doing. So either or, and then mix it up, Bottom here, like I already mentioned, Miles Turner could be an option there. Precious Achiuwa. It's just not a whole lot. Dwight Powell don't play a huge amount of minutes. It's just JaMychal Green as the cheap option, and that's basically it. And the guys I discussed. And that's pretty much it. When we look at the so let me discuss the two games that I'm looking at for stacks, right? So the stack games for today, I do like. My first option is Sacramento, New Orleans. Sacramento, New Orleans. And I like this matchup. I really do. I think this game's going to be pretty good. It's a 221 implied total with Sacramento, New Orleans. Excuse me. I have Sacramento favored by 2. Maybe I got that wrong. But New Orleans is at home. I think it says Sacramento's favored by 2. Nonetheless, when you look at this game here, man, you can look at 3 players on each side, and I think you'll be good. And I already checked them out. You can definitely get these 6 guys in there. You can go with a Fox, Halliburton, and Barnes, or a Holmes. One of the 3. I wouldn't go 4. I would go 3. So either Fox, Halliburton for sure, and then pivot and maybe have either Barnes in there, or you can just switch it with Holmes. And if you do multiple lineups, then maybe switching it, maybe have one lineup with Holmes, maybe one lineup with Barnes, whatever you want. And then the 3 that I would definitely target for New Orleans would be J. Val and Ingram and Graham. And then you also have the option, I think you should change it up with some Alexander Walker. That's, in my opinion, that's the way I would set it up. And you guys, you should be able to get a decent game stack by using 6. You'll be able to get 3 more from the other 6 games. And then it's just a matter of just really nailing the right players at the same time, hoping that those guys bounce in. Now, the other thing that you also got to remember when you do a game stack is you have to have the correlation. You have to flip it around and make sure that if you have taken 3 and 3, or let's say 3-2, especially like if you tie 3 players, 2 players, you flip it around and get 2 and 3 and make another lineup. That's the way I would do it. And then the correlation also should be if you decide to target some other players in another team as a double, as a team stack to add to this roster of 9 players. Then you got to flip that around as well. I always do that because I've been through it where I've favored 6 or gone 5 and stuck with the 3 and stuck with the 2, and then one of the other players on the team that I was thinking of maybe change it up with pops off, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I had the wrong guy. So if you have the money, you play multiple lineups, especially if you decide to do the late night hammer. Well, in this case here, this is an earlier game. If you do the early games, you can do that. But I would say if you're going to target this game as a game stack, make sure that you have correlation and you flip it around and change it up with a few other players and make multiple lineups. The other game that I'm looking at is the Clippers in Portland. If everything goes well, I think that late night hammer game should be interesting. I think the Cleveland game with LA is going to be interesting too. Cleveland has been playing very competitive ball. They got those 2 headed monsters up front with Mobley and Allen, and then they got Love coming in from the bench, who's been playing pretty much a point per minute as well, and so on and so forth. So Cleveland is a little bit more of an improved team for sure, especially up front. But Clippers in Portland, 221.5 implied total. Portland favored by 3, and I like PG-13. You could throw in there Batum. You can even throw there either a Jackson or Bledsoe and then reverse it. Maybe no Bledsoe, just Jackson, PG-13, and Batum. And then for Portland, obviously, it'll be Dame, CJ, and Nurkic. And then you can always change it up and throw it in there, maybe sprinkle in there a little bit of Nazar, a little. So any one of those. And I think those are not bad stacks. I think those are the 2 games you could definitely target that should be fairly close. I wouldn't be surprised if any of the games blow out, because it can happen, and that's why we it's a probability. We know that Vegas has them pretty respectably close. We'll see how it works out. So, and that's pretty much it, folks, man. So give it a shot. I thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you comment down below. Let me know what your game stack of the night is. Do you like the ones I mentioned? Would you be playing those or not? Let me know if you like any of the picks, any of the other suggestions. Remember what I put up here on the board and what I discuss. This is why I discuss other players, because that's pretty much the guys that I'm targeting. Everybody that I mention, I say I think they're viable or they may be in play. Chances are they are in play. I just got to do a little bit more digging. Give it a little bit more later in the evening. Come back and see if there's any new news, anything else that's open up as far as value is concerned due to injuries or guys resting or whatever the case may be, and then take it from there. But I wish you guys a lot of luck, man. Good luck if you're playing NBA, if you're playing NFL DFS. Good luck this weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Remember, I'm not doing videos tomorrow, and I'm not doing a video on Sunday. I will be doing those as soon as the NFL season goes into the playoffs, where there's less games and I don't have to focus on NFL DFS. I will be doing NBA on a regular basis. Other than that, that's it, man. Wish you guys luck. Again, peace. I'll see you guys on Monday.